Hello YouTube, and welcome to the inside of my head. This is about how I think about things, and maybe you will learn something about how things really work, or maybe you will just get a headache. How are you? Let's start the show. I like many more people, I guess. Oh, yeah. Of course, there's other people that think the same. See, we already starting. That's how I think. I'm not sure about anything. Everything is something I think, not something I know. I think many more people like me don't particularly like to be seen naked. At least not by everybody. And that's one thing I'll talk a little bit about. Another thing is that maybe, I hope so, many people think that when you have a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, don't really like to have sex with others. And maybe there is maybe it's really hard for you to have sex with somebody. You maybe not into one night stands at all. You only have sex with people you love. And maybe you think you can have sex with that one person. You think you cannot have sex with any other person ever after having sex with that one. So that's the two things I want to address a little bit here, because I'm into that two categories. I do not particularly like when people see me naked, and also I I can talk a little bit more about this first. I don't take pictures of myself naked. Well, my stomach maybe, but not the important part, because I don't even want that picture to exist. Whatever. Starting good today. That's actually how I afraid I am to letting people I don't want to see me naked. And also, the other thing I want to talk about, I'm also very. I want to not see things. I want to say things. I want to say very something, but I don't really know what I should call it. I have never had a one night stand, and I will never have a one night stand. I don't want to have a one night stand. Only have sex with people I love, but not people in plural. I only have sex with one, and that one only. And I could not in the world think about having sex with others. I'm very monogamic. You can say, yeah, I'm like extremely monogamic. However, let's start over here again with the naked thing. When I'm thinking about that, I'm also thinking about other stuff at the same time. And that's the thing I can do with my head. And now I'm saying I, but I don't really like to say I, because then I feel like I'm trying to convince you I'm the only person in the world that can think like this. Does that sound? There was a strange sound near me. I'm pretty sure it don't come from my body. Came from my body. I have to know my times. So I have to don't talk about my fuck ups. I just make it worse. Okay, but it sounded like there was a sound coming from here. Whatever. When I say I, it's just because I have not seen any other people think like me. If you think like me, I dare you, write in the comments, or I beg you, write in the comments that you agree with me in just one part. Just say you agree with me, and say which part you agree with me and how much you agree. Say if it's spot on, or say your version of it. If it's slightly different, tell your version and tell me how it's slightly different from my version. However, I actually somehow think I'm the only one that think like this, because in my perspective, when I'm thinking about what I have seen, I think most people think like this. They think about one thing, and they mostly concentrate on that one thing. But I'm comparing everything I know every single time. I always use all of my knowledge every single time I think about every single thing I think about. I use my whole back catalog of knowledge to think about things and conclude things. So I think when most people think about don't want to be seen naked, they just think, that's my body with clothes on, that's my body without clothes on. They have probably seen themselves naked without clothes on, and they think, I don't want people to see this part of me. But when I think about this, I think about the fact that I don't take pictures of myself naked because I don't want people to see this part. And I don't sound that different, but hold on, now it comes. Then I think, exactly where does this part of my body start? Because I can take pictures without a shirt on, so my stomach is not the barrier. But where does it start? How long can I go? Because if this is my stomach, what if I do this? No, it will not become a strip, so I assure you, I will not. I will stop in good time. But when I can show this, I can also show this. If you cannot see on camera, I put my pants down 1 centimeter. That's not enough for you to see my dick. My dick starts at some point, and yeah, I know where my dick starts. But is it my dick only I don't want people to see? Because then I can just take a condom, actually. And maybe a condom is a little bit transparent, but then I could color the condom blue, whatever, put the condom on, then you will not be able to see my dick. Then I could take a picture, my pants down, but then you will see my dick hanging in a blue condom. Do I want that on the internet? No. What's the problem with that? You can actually not see my dick. But yeah, if you're not sure, now it started. I hope you don't have a headache yet, because it will get worse, believe me. But one problem you can see is you can see the size of my dick. But I can find a solution to that. I could put something else in the condom around my dick to make it look bigger. Then the only problem could be that people will think my dick is bigger than it actually is. But if you don't want people to see the size of your dick, then there can only be 2 possibilities. Either you don't want people to see how small it is, like where the size, not necessarily because you have a small dick, but don't want people to know exact how long it is. So you don't want people to know that it's not 1 centimeter more, but it's what it is. So in that case, you don't want people to see how small it is, even if it's not small, but you think it's big yourself. You still don't want people to see how small it is. You want people to think it's bigger. Or the other possibility, you don't want people to see how big it is. Again, no matter how big it is, you don't want people to see how big it is. So you want people to think it's smaller. And I think most people agree, at least that they think, not agree like they know, but agree in the thinking of most people want people to think they're bigger than it actually is. And in that case, you could solve it with problem putting something extra in the condom. And yeah, I just used 1 or 2 minutes to explain my reason to think it's a good idea to put more things in the condom than your dick only. But just just to point out why I say put something in the condom. Of course, it's to make it look bigger. And you could also be perfectly happy with your dick size and be like, if people should think something about my dick, they should think it's exactly what it is. Not longer, not shorter. However, I still don't want them to know the size. And that is actually kind of how I think. However, I still don't want to say the size. I actually don't know why, but that's a whole other story. However, if you don't want people to be able to see the shape the condom forms around your dick, the size, whatever, you could put something extra in the condom. But it will still be a very strange picture to have your naked body, but with your dick inside a blue condom that has a strange shape because you have put stuff inside it. And why is that? Why you don't want that? Maybe because you can see your balls too, whatever. Put your balls in the condom. But you can still see like the round about, what the fuck should I call it? The area around the dick and balls. So maybe you don't want people to see this whole area around your dick and balls. And now I'm actually coming to the point of this whole backstory. I actually had a backstory inside a backstory. I had the backstory about why I think putting stuff in the condom was a good idea. And the whole thing about the condom was actually a backstory to come to this point. If it's not some exact things like dick and balls you want to hide, but it's actually a barrier where you don't want to show more, where does this start? Is it here? Is it here? Do I take a picture with shorts or something? Like boxers? Can I pull my boxers a bit up and still take the picture? How long down can I pull my boxers? At some point, and we are down to micrometers here, there must be a micrometer where you will think it's too much to show. But can you even see a micrometer? No, you can't really see a micrometer actually. I think I can at maximum disguise a 1/10 of a millimeter from each other. And that is actually how smartphones thickness are measured. They are measured in like 7.3 millimeters. So they're missing in 0.1/10 of a millimeter. And I can see the difference if they are side by side. But I cannot hold a smartphone and say, this is 7.7 millimeters. I cannot always do that. I can do that if I know the smartphone by heart and I know the specs of it, of course. But I cannot just do it with my eyes. So when they're side by side, I can see a 1/10 of a millimeter. But I cannot even see if it's 6 or 7 millimeters, what is closest to. So we are like, we need at least 2 millimeters, I think. Like I could see if something is closer to 5 or 7 millimeters, I think. So my precisement without comparison are like 0.2 of a centimeter. It's like 2 millimeters precisement I have. So that's how I can see. That's how precise I can see how long I have put my pants down, I think. But the problem is, if someone are pulling my pants down 1 micrometer a second, it will take a long time to reach my limit. But when my limit is reached, I will not see it because I cannot see a micrometer at a time. So at some point, my dick will be out. And at the point where my dick is flapping around in the air, I will know that it's too much. But then it's way too much, and then I actually had to pull my pants up again. So it's... now I'm just talking shit, I know that. So it's therefore really hard to say where are the points. You could make a precise point. You could say your belly button. If you can see my belly button, you can see too much. But if I take my shirt off, you can always see my belly button because I don't put my pants up that high. I'm not a modern girl. I I'm sad to say that, but I'm not. So I cannot say that. And you could do the same thing with girls. Girls are showing a lot of breasts. I don't. I have this shirt like this, and I don't get why all shirts are not like this. But often girls have shirts that are like this, or even I'm not about to break my shirt, but at least like this and even more. So where are the points where you are showing too much breast? Are that when you can see the nipple? But if it is, then you can see the nipple. So you can have it like this. Imagine it's in both directions, but it goes like this and then up here. Imagine that. Just imagine that. Okay. Oh, you have to not see my nipple. So like this is not too much for a girl to show, right? But then I have always been thinking, what if it's the other direction? Is it the top that's okay, but the bottom is too much? But now there exist like girl shirts where it's like this, where they show the bottom. Yeah, I don't have a lot of breast, but where they show the bottom of the breast starting from the nipples underside. So you can still not see nipple, but you can see the bottom of the breast. And I have put that two things together. So actually girls combined in the world, or maybe just one girls that have a lot of different clothes, have shown all of her breast around the nipple. But what if she do that on the same time with one shirt, the same shirt? That will actually be her walking around with suction cups on her nipples only. But that will look like a stripper. Do we agree on that? But actually, she's not showing more breast than she have done before in her life combined. Of course, she has shown her full breast to her boyfriend, but not counting that. I'm counting to strangers in the outside world, whatever. Because combined, she has showed all of her breasts besides the nipple. So if a girl walks around with suction cups on her nipples, she actually not showing more breast, but she is showing more at the same time. So there's not a barrier. Yes, there is a barrier around the nipple. You cannot show a nipple, but there's not a barrier you can use with one single clothes. You have the barrier around the nipple, but then you also have a percentage of the breast. I don't know what that is. You can show 20% at a time or something. So you can show a fifth, but actually you can show almost half. Maybe you can show 35%, something of your breast at the time. Yeah, there's something about that also. But what is the precise number? Is it 35%, 36%? What happens when you go to 37? Nobody will notice because it's 1% of the time. But at some point you will walk around with suction cup on the nipples if you continue to higher that. So where is the limit? There must be a limit, but there can also not be a limit, because if you see two girls where one show 36% of her breast and the other one's 37%, you will not see a difference. Unless you look very much at her breast, but you should not do that anyway. So you will not see the difference if you didn't knew it was there and try looking for it because you got asked to say which one are showing more than the other one. And that's the case. So that's some things that don't work in my head. That you actually, there must be a limit to how much body you can show and to where, which points of the body you are able to show other people and strangers, whatever. But there can also not be a limit, because you can move things so little that you will not see a difference anyway. So it's just a feeling you get. And that means that some people will think a girl look like a stripper because she almost showing all of her breasts beside the nipples. But another one will think she just have a normal low cut shirt. Because at some point people's minds will switch to from normal looking girl close to stripper in one point, and the point cannot be the same with all people. So that's the reason why people think different about different clothes and different people. Because it's a switching point, and it is so close. If you go down to the micrometer, maybe someday I wake up thinking she looks like a stripper. But if I didn't saw her that day, but I woke up the next day, maybe I will think she looked normal, because it's also it's so close, it's so little different that it depends on how I look at it. If I turn my head from the left side and find her like this, maybe I think she looked like a stripper. But if I turn from the right side and look at her like this, maybe I think she looks normal, because maybe her shirt was a little bit, down to the micrometer, so they will not be able to see the tilt, but maybe it was tilted a little bit. So the first breast I saw was showing a little bit more than the second breast I saw, and therefore if I come from the other direction and saw the lesser shown breast before the more shown, then I will think, oh, normal girl, still normal because it's a micrometer different. But from the other direction I will think, oh, stripper, still stripper because micrometer different. So it's that it can be down to why can I say it? Statistic that small that makes a difference on how to think about people. But all this is actually not what I really want to talk about, because I was talking about never taking a naked picture. But if I took a picture, I have to get a prop now. Something. Yes. I have an old smartphone here. Not that old, 2014, but still quite. You can see one camera, easy to understand. Not 3 or 4 or 5 cameras like today, but one camera. This is the camera. If I put that camera to my finger like this and took a picture, then it will be total black. Maybe if I press hard enough. If I'm not pressing hard enough, it will maybe get some light in and be more grayish. But that's not the point. Now I'm thinking too much. Again, that's how I'm thinking. I'm not sure about anything and I have to tell I'm not sure. But let's just say it will be very dark if you take a picture of your finger that close to the camera, touching the camera. If I did the same thing to my butt cheek, then it will be total dark. Of course, it will look the same because I'm pressing something against the camera. Nearly no matter what I'm pressing against the camera, it will be total darkness. Or just very dark. So we will not even be able to see a picture, a difference in a picture of your skin or clothes or something, a shirt you found on the ground or something. You will not really be able to see a difference. But if I hold it a little bit out, so you are maybe able to see the skin color of the skin that's going from edge to edge in the picture. Then what happens if I do the same of my butt cheek? Then you will be able to see I have taken 2 pictures of some skin. Maybe you are even able to see it's human skin. You are able to see kind of my color of the skin. You are able to see I'm not the darkest human in the world. However, are you able to see that one picture is of my finger and the other one is my butt cheek? No, I don't think so. If it's that close. If it's that close that the closest point where you can see the color of the skin and it's not darkness anymore. If you are that close to the finger and your butt cheek, I think it will look the same. So, but no, before I say so, on the other hand, if I took a picture like this away from my butt, then you would be able to see both my butt cheek and my butt crack. You're just able to see whole my butt. You're not able to see anything else of my body. Like the picture is like this and my butt is here. So not really able to see anything else but my butt. But you can see my full butt and you can see it in the full glory of my butt. But you cannot see my face. Some people are fine with that. Some people are like, all you cannot see is my butt. So it's okay. I can always say it's not my butt, because I'm the only one that know how my butt looks, so I can just say it's not my butt. it's a lie. Some people have told you it's my butt, but it's not. But other people are like, no, I actually don't want people to see my butt at all. And that's the one I am. So what if you do something in between these two? Because yeah, when you can see all of your butt in the picture, then you don't want people to see it. But when it's so close that you can just see skin and you cannot see it's your butt, then it's okay? Or is it okay? Because it is actually a picture of your butt, but people will not notice your butt. You can just say, oh, it's my hand. It's this part you are seeing. And people will be like, oh, okay. And even if you told people that's some skin of my butt, they will not be like, I've seen your butt. Because they cannot see the butt, so they will not give a fuck. So will there be a point in between these two pictures where it switches from just being some skin you cannot see is a butt and clearly your butt and showing too much of your butt? Because I think, and that's why I take the butt and not say dick or whatever, balls. I think balls are pretty easy to recognize just by the color itself and the hair and other stuff. And the dick also have some distinct features, but the butt is mostly just skin. And that's why I'm talking about the butt, because if I centered the picture at the right butt cheek and took it out this far, you will maybe be able to see almost the whole butt cheek. Like if the picture was like this, but the butt cheek was like this, then you still only see skin, but you actually see a lot of skin. But you cannot really be sure it's your butt cheek. It could also be a part of your stomach where your belly button isn't there and your like nipples isn't on the picture, so it could be like this part. It could also be your back, if you had a lot of fat on your back at least, because you have a lot of fat on the belly button. I hope you don't have no belly button, but on your butt cheek. So, but it could actually be a back. It could be like the right part of your back where there's no, you cannot see the spine or any muscles really. So we will still not be sure it's your butt, but you actually get pretty much into your butt. If you get almost all of the right butt cheek, then you maybe miss like 20% of that and 100% of the left one, and then there's a crack. Does the crack even take up any space? So you maybe you're able to see up to a third of your whole butt, but still people will not be able to recognize it's your butt. And that's actually pretty much of your butt you were able to see. If you took a picture of your dick head, and only your dick head, what would that be? About 20%? I hope you don't say it's 33% like the butt cheek, because then you have a big dick head or a short dick. But it's okay if you have. But let's just say it's around 20% of the dick. That's the dick head. So if you took the picture where if the picture was this square and the dick head just started in the down bottom of the picture, so you was just able to see dick head and only dick head only, that will only be 20% of the dick. But it's also a very important part of the dick and very recognizable part of the dick. So you don't want no dick head on the internet, right? But that's only 20% of the dick, but 33% of your butt cheek is actually just some skin. You can even not see it's a butt cheek. So there is a difference there, right? But how much can you show of your butt cheek then? It sounds like it just came with the answer, 33% apparently, or 80% of one butt cheek or something around that figure, but I'm not sure about that. I have not tried taking a picture of my butt, because I don't want to take pictures. I'm not even taking the picture where I hold my phone so close you cannot see anything but darkness, because I already know that's what's gonna happen, so I don't need to test it. So I don't want to test the thing, but I'm just thinking, philosophically thinking about where can it be? Because if you can see 80% of one butt cheek, maybe you're able to see how it rounds around, and then you're able to see it's a butt cheek, because a butt cheek are smaller than your stomach. So if your stomach is round, goes to a little thick or very thick, doesn't matter. It will always be round in a way that you can see it's round slower than your butt cheek because it's bigger. That's how it works. The earth rounds very slowly. Therefore you can think it's flat when you look out because you are so small. So it will look flat. If an ant, well, not really an ant, if a bacteria was on your butt cheek, the bacteria will think the butt cheek was flat. Maybe your butt are flat. No, probably not. Even if you have the roundest butt in the world, a bacteria will still see it as a flat surface because it rounds so slow. But that's another topic. How you see rounds in different sizes. But if you can see how the butt cheek rounds, maybe you were able to see it's a butt cheek, but you're still only able to see some skin. And is that too much to show? Maybe not. Girls are walking around on the beach with G-strings nowadays, so they're showing more butt cheek than I even wanted to show in that picture I'm philosophically thinking about right now. So maybe it's not too much. But the only thing they are hiding is actually the crack. And butt is the only thing that's not sexy about a butt. That's a crack. So actually, their butt are more sexy than a bare butt, right? So isn't it worse to show people your butt in a G-string than your bare butt? And what is your definition of a bare butt? Is that just the butt cheeks that's bare, or is it nothing at all? Because my definition is nothing at all. My definition of a bare butt is the same as bottomless, but when you have, if you had something, then you would still be bottom. I'm not. Yes, I think it's the same definition in my book. So I'm normally thinking that if a girl on the beach in a G-string took off the G-string, of course she has something in the front too, but let's just say that there was no people in front of her. She was standing there, front to the ocean. No people are bathing because people are stupid, so they don't bath on the fucking beach. I don't know, but she's standing there in a G-string. Then she take off the G-string. Do you wanna think she should take it on again? Because now you can see her butt crack, and you don't want to see her butt crack. You only want to see the butt cheeks. So you actually want the girl to take the G-string on again. Yeah, it can be other reason you want her to do that. Maybe because you don't want to see her naked. But now we're just thinking, if you were single and horny and you want to see the girl as naked or as sexy as possible, do you want her to take the G-string on again? Because then you're not able to see her butt crack, but you can see the full butt cheeks, which are looking good, whatever, you like them, whatever. Or is it better without the G-string? Because then you can see the butt in the full glory like nature has made it. It's very strange, because if you don't want to look her straight up the butt, of course you don't do that unless she bend down and stretch her butt cheeks, but let's imagine she's not doing that. But you want to be as far away from the butthole as possible with your eyes, because you don't think that is sexy, but you think the rest of the butt is sexy. Wouldn't it be a good idea to cover the butthole, but mostly only the butthole? Maybe if you think logical about it, But your instinct likes a naked body, because a naked body is the easiest one to fuck, and fucking is it doesn't feel right to say fucking in this conversation. Mating, yes, that's a baby. I could say having sex, but having sex don't fit either, because mating. A naked body is the easiest one to mate with. And mating is how you get kids. Kids are how you raise, don't die. Kids are how you make the evolution go, that is shit. So for most animals, mating is the most important part of their life. To get some kids is the number one goal on your bucket list. And a naked body is the easiest one to mate with. So even though you don't want to mate in the butthole, you want it as naked as possible, so the instincts say it's better without the G-string on. So, and also the G-string are covering something you need to mate, but you don't know that. Your instinct, your logic knows that, because logic knows how G-string works normally. But you actually don't know if she had a hole in the front, so she was ready. It will not be normal on the beach, I know that, but you actually don't know that. You think you know that, but you don't know it. And your instinct only works with things you know and things you want. And your instinct maybe only needs that one hole, but the possibility of that hole to not be covered will be higher if nothing in the back of her are covered either. So if you look at a girl from the back and she's looking fully naked, you don't know if she has something in the front. She could have suction cups, whatever in the front. But if you look at her from the back and she looks totally naked, the possibility of her front being totally naked will be higher than if you look at her back and she is having something on the back. That don't necessarily mean she has something in the front, but if she are hiding something on the back, she's probably hiding something in the front too. So the possibilities are higher, and therefore maybe a naked butt is better than a butt in a G-string. That's the logic way doesn't work to solve this question, but the instinctive way works. And I actually didn't want to talk about that, but that's how my head works. I think about all different things and collect the knowledge to find the solution to what you can show on the picture. So I'm talking about naked girls' butt cheeks on the beach. Now we go back to the picture part, but I'm not talking very much about picture. I would just say, now we have maybe uncovered what you can show of your butt on a picture, or maybe not. We're not sure because we cannot go precisely, but we have went so close we can, I believe. But what if I tell you that a picture is just a bunch of ones and zeros in a row in a specific order, and that specific order is the picture of your butt. But a picture of another person's butt are also a rings of ones and zeros, but in a slightly different order than your butt. But actually the order are somewhat close because both are butts, so the shape are the same. But that depends on how you take a picture of the butt. You could take a picture of the butt laying down and you can go down, so you could just see the butt go up like this, or you can take it straight at the butt. That'll be two whole different angles, and there will be a lot other things on the picture where she's laying down or he's laying down, whatever. That's not the butt, so there will be a lot of ones of zeros that's different. But if you took two identical pictures straight at your butt like this, and another person did the same at their butt, just like a straight at butt, then the shape will be the same. But the ones and zeros in the picture don't care about shape, they care about color. So actually, if you took a picture of your butt and you have a paper or something in the exact same color as your butt, that can be strange because your butt probably have a lot of nuances, because you'll know that from when you are drawing. If you draw a human and you just color it in one color, just take the earrings color and color human earrings, or take a brown one, or take a black one. Like, do total black people exist? Because if they did, could you take a total black pencil and then color a person-shaped drawing total black? Even if a person can be total black, and actually a pencil cannot be total black because it's very hard to make total black, but let's just say you can get a pencil that's exactly as black as the human you're trying to draw. You can not just draw a total black, because even then it will be slightly different, because you have some nuances. Even a black person have lips in another color than black. The inside of the hand are normally lighter color than the outside, and that is not only for black people, it's for me too. It's not so different for me, I think it's more different for black people, but that's a whole other conversation I don't want to think about. That's color strange, and colors in humans are very strange, but fuck that right now. So, yeah. Let's say you have a paper, either in the same color as the color most of your butt cheek is, or maybe you have a very nice paper that have all of the nuances of your butt cheek, but maybe in a slightly different order. Then the ones and zeros will actually be very close, but one picture is of a fucking paper with some colors on, and the other one is of your butt. And let's say there is a person in the same color as you that took a picture in the same lighting condition, because that's also important to get the colors right in the picture. That's actually more important than what you're actually taking a picture of, but that's a whole other conversation about photography. I don't want to go in detail with. There could be multiple series of videos by itself, so fuck that for now. The same color person, same lighting conditions, but two different persons. So it's not you, it's another person's butt. Then the ones and zeros will be only a slight different. Maybe you're so lucky that only one series of ones and zeros are flipped. But then you will look very much alike anyway, and you will not be able to see different in the first place, so that will be unrealistic. So let's just say a bunch of the ones and zeros are flipped. So they look very close on paper, the two pictures. The points I want to go to is, actually, when you upload a picture of your butt to the internet, there could happen to be some errors in the pictures, where some ones and zeros are flipped in the process. And it don't normally happen with uploading. On this, it's on some specific communication. Let's say if you're uploading a picture via the Wi-Fi, then actually when you're sending the picture to the Wi-Fi router, the ones and zero can flip. And when the router sends the pictures to the next router on the internet, then the ones and zeros can also flip there. It doesn't happen that often today as it did in the past. And especially not when you're uploading a photo, because when you're uploading a photo, it uses a protocol, they call it, which are very protective of the exact ones and zeros. But let's just say that you are using a very old router that don't have that newer protocol, but use a protocol that's better for uploading pictures, and you get some ones and zeros flipped. Or actually, some radiation from the sun can actually make it happen. It had happened a few times in the past where we actually get recordings of it happens. And the reason why we almost know that this radiation is actually quite fun because one of the times was a Super Mario game, and it was a game that was being played at a Nintendo game console. So there was no sending data from one device to another. It was on the single device that the ones and zeros got flipped, and Super Mario suddenly moved from one place to another place. And they found out that what happened was a single zero was flipped to a one, and the zero was where he was standing, and the one was where he was standing after the flip. And that exact 1 and 0 was actually the height of him. So when that 0 get flipped to a 1, it make him flow up 5 meters in Super Mario World. Meters to up in the air. And that make him land on a platform above his head. So very convenient, but also very like what to say, lucky, whatever. So also that could happen. There could be some radiation hitting your Wi-Fi router when you're uploading the picture to internet. But no matter how it happens, if the ones and zeros get flipped into a picture of your bot, it could be flipped. Again, it will sure not happen in real life, but in the theory, it could be flipped that much that it will actually look like another person's bot. Because that's how pictures work. They're just a bunch of ones and zeros, and actually no picture are your exact bot, because when you get a camera in better quality, your bot will look better. Why? Because it gets more information about the bot, so your bot will look more real life and therefore better. I'm not saying your bot looks better, like it's not that fat, or it's more round, or it doesn't have some what you even call it, skin whatever arrows. It's like it doesn't make your butt look perfect. Maybe with some photoshopping, but I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying like a picture quality gets better. When you buy a newer camera, get a better quality camera, the picture quality always gets better because it gets more realistic. So as more realistic your bot will look on the picture, as better your bot will look. As more the bot will be like you. But if the picture quality always can get better, if your bot always can look more realistic on the new camera coming out next year, then your bot is never looking 100% realistic on the picture you have right now. That means no picture of your bot will ever show your bot in its full glory. However, you can clearly see it's your bot, because now we have great cameras even with smartphones, so yeah, you can clearly see it's your bot because we have reached so long. But it's not exactly how your bot looks. It actually looks slightly different, but you don't care because it's close enough for humans to see is your bot, and that's what you are interested in knowing. But if you go the other way, if you got a burst camera all the way to the point where you're not even taking pictures in 2 megapixels anymore, in full HD, 2 million pixels, like a full HD screen can show, but you're down to 144p, which is the slowest, not the slowest, the lowest setting on YouTube. If you have ever tried to have very bad internet and YouTube has switched to 144p, you can see that it's very bad quality, and you're not really always at least able to see what's actually on the screen. I will say 144p is the lowest setting. It's the lowest resolution you can have, almost. Of course 143p will also be kind of look the same, but it's around 144p. That's the lowest resolution where you can see what is in the video at all. If you go lower than that, it will just be some different colors in some squares, and you will not be able to see it as a real life picture anyway. So if you go down to 144p or even lower resolution and take a picture of your bot, and it will just be some colors anyway. And even at 144p where you can maybe recognize it's a bot, you will not be able to recognize it's your bot, because almost every bot looks the same in 144p. Maybe the colors, if you have a very dark human and a very light human, yeah, then you'll be able to see a difference, because one will maybe be mostly white and the other one be mostly black or brown or something. So of course you will be able to see a difference there. But if you have two persons that just look a little bit alike, you will not be able to see a difference in their butt. You will just be able to see it's a picture of a butt, but not whose butt. So there is a point in the picture quality where it's get good enough for you to be able to see it's a butt. But again, errors can happen, and if you shake a camera a bit, the picture gets a bit blurry, then you have a blurry picture of your butt. Then you're not able to see exactly which arrows you have in the skin, and maybe if you have a scar in the top of your butt or something, you will not be able to see that. So you will not be able to see all the features of your butt anyway, so doesn't it matter? Or does it matter that people see your butt on a blurry picture? Like, you can get these pictures from like parties where a drunk person take off his clothes, whatever. Probably a guy, so his clothes. A drunk person take off his clothes. Another drunk guy take a shaky picture with his smartphone because he's laughing his ass off, and he cannot hold his hands still because he also takes some cocaine or something, whatever. And you get this guy jumping from one table to another naked because there's some movement. So there's some movement in the guy, and the camera is moved. So you get a really shaky picture with a really blurry naked guy. You can see it's a naked guy, and you can maybe recognize, because there are only 5 persons at the party, and you know all these 5 persons, so you can recognize which of these 5 persons it is. You can start by removing 2 of the girls, because you can see it's the guy. So you have 3 guys left, and you know who's take the picture because he's the only one that's stupid enough to shake the camera that much. No, whatever. You can find out which guy it is. So you know exactly which person it is on the picture, but it's very blurry picture of his. You're not even really able to see if he's naked. He could actually be wearing a G-string or something, because you can just see a shadow between his butt cheeks. So you cannot really see if he has anything on. I'm painting a very nice picture here, Emma. So sometimes you can have such a blurry picture of a naked person that you're not even sure the person is even naked, or just have some skin colored underpants on or something. You know, you get my idea, right? So you think that he's maybe naked, but you're not able to see his dick or anything special about it. Then how bad is it to show that picture to strangers? How bad is it to be on the internet? The only thing you can see is you get the information about you have been naked to a party, but you don't get the information about how you look naked. You just have to prove, because you can see you are naked, but you cannot really see how you look naked, because you cannot really see that much of your naked body anyway. So is that important? I'm not sure. So that's the picture thing of this conversation about how is it to show the naked body to others. Also another thing, when we go back in time to the Stone Age, then we were all naked. It was probably some point in the Stone Age where we began to wear clothes. This in the Stone Age, which is the first age of the human, if you're not knowing it. So the Stone Age was where the humans evolved from, or more precisely, the Stone Age was where the Homo sapiens evolved from, our nearest ancestor. And we're not really sure who was the step before Homo sapiens, because we always discover new things. So let's just say the Stone Age was where Homo sapiens evolved from their ancestor. And if you go more back in time, it depends on what you call humans. Like Homo erectus was before Homo sapiens, and Homo erectus was a little bit before the Stone Age, I believe, or maybe they also evolved in the Stone Age. The Stone Age was very big, there was a lot of things happening, but the ancestor to Homo erectus was before the Stone Age. So there has been some hominids before the Stone Age, but Homo sapiens evolved in the Stone Age. So let's focus on Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens discovered clothes later in the Stone Age, where we have an Ice Age. Ice Age is not an age of the human history. Ice Age is a state of the earth that can happen and has happened, not depending on the historic age. So in the Stone Age we have 3 ice ages, whatever, Asian plural. So it was probably in the first of the ice ages we discovered or tried on clothes for the first time, and at least in the latest ice age we have clothes on. So we as Homo sapiens invented clothes because it gets too cold for us. We like hot weather around 30 to 40 degrees Celsius. It's what we have evolved from and like to live our whole life in. So when it gets minus something, we needed to invent clothes. So at the time before the Ice Age, we were just naked humans running around. All was naked, all see each other naked. We have never seen a person without seeing them naked. When I think about that, then your body doesn't be that important anymore. Because you're just naked, anybody's naked. Any other animals are naked, and you are just, as humankind, as Homo sapiens, you are just naked. So, when I'm thinking Stone Age mind, and that, if you don't know me, you probably don't, but that's how I solve the most problems I have. I start by looking at some logic, compare things, think what are the different possibilities. If I cannot decide between some things, I always go back to Stone Age mind and thinking, well, at some point we didn't take bath at all, we didn't brush our teeth, at some point we just eat meat, at some point we just ate fruit. So I'm thinking like that, and then I nearly almost solve my problem. And if I take my Stone Age mind and try to solve the problem, if I think it's okay people see me naked or not, and solve the problem of why I don't like people seeing me naked, then I get to the point that we have all been naked once, and it was normal to be naked. It will not be a problem if I lived in the Stone Age. It will not be a problem if people see me naked. I don't care if people see me naked if I lived in that time. And also, if you look at how humans looked, or how apes looked back in the time, or how humanids looked back in the time, like when we evolved from some ancestor way back, so back we will not even call it a humanid anymore, but we will call it an ape, straight up an ape. When that evolved to a humanid, we have a lot of hair all over our body. The first thing that got not hairy was actually around our breast and stomach, got a little bit more like flat and slippery, but we still have hair all other places. We have hair on our butt cheeks, and when I'm thinking about, not taking a picture of my butt today, but then thinking about how an ape or the first humanid's butt cheeks probably looked, with hair all over the place. The only place there was not hair was inside the butt crack, but way inside, like you really have to spread to see the line without hair. Like the hair rolls into the butt cheek, I should do it like this so you can see. So it was just hair. It was just a bunch of hair. But if I had a butt like that, I would be like, I don't care if people see it like that. I have a really hard time looking at old humanoids and thinking they are sexy. Like, or even care about they're naked. But there comes points, actually, where I think it gets a little bit strange to look at them. I actually have looked at so many naked, of course, because they're always drawn or animated naked because they were naked. It's before the Stone Age again. But I've looked at so many naked humanoids now that I have actually looked at some. They look so much like humans. Like when they do Homo erectus, they look a lot like Homo sapiens, which are us humans. And again, the word human doesn't really, it isn't really locked at Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens are just a specific race we humans are, but there's also the bigger word humans, where humans include maybe Homo erectus or whatever you want. There's not really a rule to what you can include in the word humans. But now, when I say humans now, I mean Homo sapiens. Just to tell you that Homo sapiens are the humans we are now and the race we are now. So Homo erectus looks a lot like us humans from today. They just have a little bit more hair, and their breast looks a little bit less human, a little bit more gorilla. If you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, pause the video, just Google gorilla, look at their breast. It doesn't even matter if it's a male or a female gorilla because they look very like their breast. But what happens in Homo erectus is that the female starts to get bigger breasts than the males, but they still look quite gorilla-ish. But again, remember, it's not total gorilla, it's like a middle thing between a girl from today with big breasts and a gorilla. So if you can try combine that, or you can just Google Homo erectus or whatever hominids, Google naked hominids. You don't even need to spell the word naked. You just need to Google hominids and they will come up naked anyway. It could just be fun to Google. I'll try to Google that. There will probably be some porn made with hominids. Oh no, I don't even want to think about. Oh, of course there exists porn of that. However, when the girls, or what you want to call it, the females start to have breasts that are not like the males of the same kind, then I start to, it's at that point also it's at the same point the hair disappear from the breast, so you have a naked breast. Then it starts to become a bit, what can you call it, sexualized for me to look at this naked human. It's not the same as looking up normal porn with normal humans from today, of course. I find humans from today more attractive than Homo erectus. I will say that. If I didn't, then it will be scary. But, and I don't say I find Homo erectus attractive at all, but it's like, if you see, I'm sorry about what I'm saying, I just try to really cut it out for you to understand me. It's like when you're seeing a really old, really ugly lady naked, and you are 17 years old. The lady are 97 years old. and ugly. She's not ugly because she's old. She's old and ugly on top of that. She has always been ugly. So she is an ugly 97-year-old woman with very long breasts. And you are 17 years old, and you have seen You are started to see porn, so you have seen some naked women on your own age, or slightly older, hopefully. Maybe some nice one. You have maybe found which shape of girl you. I like the shape of you, Ed Sheeran. No, I hear too much Ed Sheeran. You maybe found the shape of girl you like. So you have seen enough naked ladies. Naked ladies now. I'm getting too English. No, I've seen naked girls enough to know what you like in naked girls, or whatever. And you're seeing this 97-year-old ugly woman with long breast naked, of course. Then you will not have the feeling of, oh, she's sexy. Of course, on this you like it, but I really try to paint a picture of you not liking this. You will not feel the need to look at her for a longer time because you think she's sexy and you want to see her as much as possible. You will more get inappropriate feeling because you're seeing someone naked you are not supposed to see naked, so you get the inappropriate feeling of seeing someone naked, but not the sexy feeling of liking it. Only the inappropriate feeling. Only the feeling that you should not have seen her naked. That's the feeling I get when I see Homo erectus naked. So, I don't get that feeling when I see a dog naked. Dogs are always naked. Just have to point that out. I don't get the same feeling when I see other animals running around in the nature. Even if it's an animal I have not seen in real life before and I see it for the first time. It's like the first time you see your girlfriend naked, it's something very special, but if you see her naked every day, you kind of get used to it. It's not the same, it's not as awkward, you know. But so I have seen many naked dogs. I have not seen a naked elephant. But even the first time I see a naked elephant, it's not. I have actually seen a naked elephant now, and it got horny and shit on the floor. So very strange. But even then, I didn't get awkward because it was just a fucking elephant. If I saw a human the first time, I've never seen him before, and the first time I saw him, he was naked. And when he saw me, his dick got hard and he sat on the floor. Then I will not only get awkward, but also running away very fast. And if I saw a Homo erectus in real life, and the same thing happened, then I will also get very awkward, I think, and run away very fast because you don't know what a Homo erectus are capable of doing. So I kind of get the same feeling, but not the exact same. I don't get the feeling I get when when for example when you look at porn and you're like, it's a bit strange. I'm looking at other people naked. It feels kind of strange. I'm doing that. It's not the same feeling I get when I'm researching human ancestors and see old humanids naked. Of course, I'm not doing that to masturbate in the first place, so of course not the same feeling. But I also not get the feeling of it being wrong in the same way that porn is wrong. I'm not saying that porn is wrong. I'm just saying I feel wrong about porn. That you're seeing other naked. You maybe don't get that because a porn star is her job or something, but if it was someone you know and you saw her naked on the internet, it would be strange, right? That's the thing I get about porn, but I don't get that feeling when I see a Homo erectus naked. There's some point where I feel more human than animal about this humanid ancestors. There is a point where I can really feel, where I feel that's a naked person and not that's a fucking ape. Because when I see a gorilla, I don't think that's a naked person. I think that's a gorilla. I don't even put the word naked inside my brain. I only did that with dogs to make fun of it, just to compare. Because sometimes it's a good way to compare things by talking about it in the same way I feel. But normally I don't look at an animal and think that's a naked. Put in X animal here. So there comes a point in the ape's evolution to humans where I think that's a naked person and not that's an ape. And that happens around Homo erectus, like I have told you. So, is that where humans start? Is that what we call human? When we feel it's a naked person, not an ape anymore? Maybe that's what we call human. And I think that's why human are such a strange term that has been used in many different ways and include more than Homo sapiens, which are probably the scientific description of a human. So the feeling of humans are other things. People feel humans are different things. And that's why you can describe human in many different ways. But that's a whole other topic I didn't even want to get in on. Because the thing I want to focus on is that when I'm thinking about how much we have been naked, like in a million years, or that depends on Homo sapiens has lived for a bit more than 300,000 years. But then for 200,000 of these years, we were just naked. And probably more than that, probably a quarter of a million years we have been naked. We have probably only have clothes on in the latest 20% of Homo sapiens history. So why is that bad to be naked? What does it matter? Does it at all? But then, now it gets even worse. Because that's one thing to think about it. Remember, I've been thinking about this as just naked. Like normal people think who can see me naked, who cannot, because someone I think is good enough if they see me naked, but other ones should not be able to. And then I have taken that to, what about pictures? Doesn't that even matter? Because pictures are not really me, pictures are just ones and zeros. And no matter how bad good the quality of the camera can be, it will never be good enough to show the real me. Totally realistic. And then I took it way back to Stone Age, where it was all naked and it doesn't matter. It has never mattered there. And there are points where you think people are sexy and they're not. But now I take it even further because out in the universe, or we are already in the universe, it's stupid to say out in the universe. It's like saying out in the world will normally be other countries than you. But if I, which are living in a European country, say out in Europe, I don't, when I take on vacation, I don't, when I go on vacation, I have to speak English, not the stupid language. Then I don't travel to Europe because I'm already in Europe. You know, just go out to explore the rest of Europe. And that's how to do when you take out in space. You take out to discover the rest of the universe you are already inside of. But in the universe, which we are in, I should not be able to say it anymore, but we are in the universe. In this universe, there exist some small bricks. It's like Lego, some Lego bricks we call atoms. And we have around 90 something atoms we have discovered until now. There can be more atoms because we didn't discover them all at once, so there's probably 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 we have not discovered. Maybe 20 or 40 we have not discovered. But as what we know right now, there is around 90 something atoms in the whole universe. And now I'm saying this universe like there is only one, but there's also theories about other universes. If we include them, then in our universe there is around 90 something atoms. Maybe the same atoms will be in other universes, but we don't really know because we cannot see them. So whatever, in our universe or this universe, depending on what theory you believe. Now I have included most of you at least. There will be these 90 something atoms, and there will not be anywhere in the universe where there is anything else but these 90 something atoms. Everything are made of these 90 something atoms. We humans are around 60 to 80% water. That I think now is 70. It depends on which paper you read. I have heard a lot of things. So let's just say between 60 and 80. Then no people can say I'm wrong. We humans are between 60 and 80% water. Water is hydrogen and oxygen, two of the atoms. That's only two of the atoms combined that makes water. So 60 to 80% of our whole body are only made of one of these two atoms. They are made of both, but if you take one atom out, it will be one of these two atoms. So 60 to 80% of the atoms in our body will be either of these either of these two atoms. Then we have the last 20 to 40% of our body, and that are made out of a few other atoms. I'll not go that deeply inside this. Let's just say it's made of 3 other atoms. So in total we are made of 5 atoms. We can agree that other people's, I'm not black, you can see that, so I can say a black people will also have between 60 and 80% water inside him. His water is also made out of hydrogen and oxygen. However, our water are mainly based in our blood. There's also water in other parts. Most anything is there's water in every part of our. For example, when we are crying, it's not blood, it's water. It's not straight up water. It is a bit more salty, but not as salty as our sweat, which are also mainly water. So there's water in many parts, but most of our water is in the blood, which are of course wet and not even close to the color of water. So of course there's other things in that water too. I'm not saying that we have 60 to 80% clean water in our body. We don't have. We just have 60 to 80% water in our body. And inside some of that water, or on top of that, because we have 60 to 80% clean water in our body, it's just mixed. So it's like we are having 90% fluid in our body, where 80% of that is water, whatever. And the last 10% of that fluid is what makes blood red and whatever, sweat, salty, whatever. So I'm not even sure where I was going with this. Now I'm just thinking that the maybe part of me. I only want to say maybe about things I don't really know for sure. So that's what I'm doing now. That doesn't really matter. Let's just say humans are made of 5 atoms. The black person, his water, again, are made of the same 2 atoms as my water. His blood has the extra stuff that makes blood red, like my blood do. He has salt in his sweat, whatever. He has a bit salt in his crying water. His sweat are probably more salty than his crying water is. His tears, the name is tears. Like me, maybe it's the other way around, but I don't think so. But what I'm going for is that actually every single atom I have, this black man, no, let's just say girl, because girl don't look like men. So this black girl has the same atoms as I have. The same 5, let's just say 5. It could also be 10, I have not looked up recently. But let's just say it's 5 different atoms we are made of, out of these 90 plus atoms. And this black girl has the same 5 atoms as me. She's made of the same 5 atoms as me. Just in a different order. Like the ones and zeros in the picture. She has the atoms in a different order and different, like what do you say? Different volumes compared to each other. She probably have more of something than another thing compared to me, because her skin are darker, so she has more of what makes her skin darker than I have compared to the rest of her atoms. She consists of, but it's the same 5 things she made of. It's just different orders and different amounts. But it's the same 5 things and nothing more, nothing less. So actually, when I'm naked, it's actually just these 5 atoms floating around in space, just looking at. And when you look at it like that, we are actually just some single atoms combined. Then it feels really stupid to care about if you have clothes on or not, and how big your dick is, and how clean your butt look, because we're just different amounts of the same stuff. So when I think like that, it gets really stupid. It gets even more stupid than the Stone Age people and their camera phones. And those Stone Age people don't have camera phones. It's just trying to combine 2 points in one. This gets really stupid now. Why we care about such little things in the big universe? We care about so little things, so unimportant things compared to what else are happening in the whole world or universe. And it gets even worse when you think about that your atoms are actually changing. You know that you look older for every year. Maybe you're not able to see it every year if you look at yourself every day. But a person that have not seen you in a whole year will see the difference after a year. But actually, I have to remember this right because I want to say it straight up right. I think it's I think there was something about every month. I think it was every single month your whole body has reincarnated. Like there's nothing left of the old you after a month. Either it was like that or then it was like 20%. Or maybe I'm totally wrong. But at least quite often your whole body has reincarnated. But one thing I must say is it's not on the same time. It is like 20% of your body that reincarnate. So after 5 years, some of you may be just the same, but maybe none of you are left. And yeah, you don't look that different after 5 years, I know that, but that's because you reincarnate. Some of the atoms reincarnate to be the same. So it's not really that you have changed that much that you were able to see it, definitely, but you are actually changing. And that's also why your taste changed, because your taste buds also disintegrates and grow again. So after a year you can taste something really different than you did the year before, but also sometimes you don't. Sometimes you have a single food, maybe it's your favorite food, that have tasted the same in all the years you have eat that food, but other foods changed a couple of times in your lifetime, because it doesn't really go all around at the same time. You don't really be a whole new person every single month, but in like average, after 5 years, there's average nothing left of you from 5 years before. And my point is about that is actually, if you had a picture, and I have talked about pictures, that pictures are not really you, but just say you have the ultimate camera and you don't care about the ones and zeros get flipped and whatever. But you have a picture of you from 5 years ago where you're naked. We know some people have that where we have a picture when we was 1 year old, naked in the bathtub, or maybe just naked on the table after shitting ourselves or something. And when we get to 30 years old, we don't really care if people see that picture because it's not really us anymore. Like every baby has been naked at some point and shit ourselves. And well, if we are a boy, we don't really believe anyone believe we have the same dick. It's probably getting bigger. I'm talking a lot about dick size, but just think people understand that like your body has changed a lot and it's not the same body anymore. But if that's the important thing of a naked picture of you, if the important thing is do you have the same body like you had when this picture was taken or not, why can't you take a picture of yourself naked when you're a teenager? And then when you get to 30 years old again, you can show that picture of your naked teenage body to other people. Maybe because you're really sexy when you're a teenager and you're not when you're a baby. So people think you look sexy. But you don't anymore because now you're 30 plus. Maybe you still look sexy, whatever. But in a different way at least. So there's something about when we think, when a body can be sexualized, then it's a problem. But again, if your body looked very different when you were 30 plus years old and when you was a teenager, why does you care about people see that picture of you? And maybe you don't. Maybe you're like, oh, my body has changed. I don't look that virgin anymore, whatever. then you don't care anymore because you don't look like this. So people has not been seeing you naked. People have seen past you naked. But even if you are like that person, then actually, if you had a picture that was only 5 years old, and you were not 10 at the time, so not twice as old, but you were 35, you had a picture when you was 30 years old, then your body may look very similar. Let's say you have got no kids. You're not a girl that got any kids in the meantime of these two pictures taken. Let's just say you're still a virgin, whatever, and you get these two pictures taken, so your body look very similar to the picture taken from 5 years ago. Because you are in the times of life where the body don't change that much. Actually, your whole body has changed. Obviously, you're not sure because it changed dynamically, but on average, your whole body has changed. So the person in the picture is no more. It's not you in the picture. It's another bunch of atoms that existed at some point but are gone now. Should you care about people see your naked picture for 5 years ago? A girl, if it's not you anymore and there's nothing left of the body on that picture? In theory, because your whole body changed and all your atoms has reincarnated after that picture taken. In theory, you could have grown a dick if you were a girl. In theory, it could have happened. You could have something totally different between your legs. You could have no hair anymore. Your dick could get bigger because your atom reincarnated in that way. Actually, this thing could, in theory, has happened, but probably not. Because your whole body has changed, it doesn't necessarily have to be the same. Maybe you look exactly the same, but people will not know that. But people probably think that because people don't think like me, so they probably will think you look like the same. Anyway, so but maybe you look like the same, but you are not the same. So does it matter? Does it matter what it looks like, or does it matter what it is? That's the problem with this conversation. And the big problem with my conversation with you guys is that I have not even went into the other thing I want to talk about having sex with other people. So, but just to let you know, it's kind of the same thing I have just did with this. It's kind of the same thinking, the same way of thinking, and the same way of comparing different aspects of how the universe works. Past human life now, human life as what we see it, and human life what it is astronomically. So astronomically, the universe way of see our lives. It's the same thing I was thinking about when I think about who to have sex with and who not, because when we go back to the Stone Age, we just fucked whatever ass went against our face. We just fucked them in the ass, but we see a bare ass, not that bare, they have hair on. You're like, I think that's a girl. Go to them, fuck them. That's it. And no, it was not exactly like that. We actually groomed apes. Apes has this thing where they groom each other, and they actually get like friendly to each other before they fuck. So that's quite nice. That's the past way of dating actually. So the thing about dating has actually always been something human has done. So we have never been like rabbits. We have never just fucked to one side and the other side. We have actually always been dating. So actually, people today are more animal than they were a couple of million years ago, because now people are doing one night stand. And we really didn't do that much back in the day. One night stand is not that instinctively right for humans. We actually have an instinct of dating each other. That's kind of interesting. And actually, that was a thought that just came into my head now. I've never been thinking about this one before. So that's funny, but also we were not that monogamic. We could have more vibes. We could, like, when one ape has got some kids and was not really fertile anymore, the male could try to make some more kids with a new girl. That could happen. That was quite normal. But it's more like switching vibes than this one night stands. And there were probably some apes that has a one night stand occasionally because they only fucked once. I really doubt they only fucked once, because apes lived in small what the fuck it's called? I forgot the scientifically correct word. It's just call it a city or something. Apes make small cities, like very small, like 15 to 20 apes maybe. So if you fuck one of the female ones, why don't you fuck her again? There are only 8 to 10 females in the group you are living with anyway. So how can you only fuck one once? So it will be really hard for a past human, ape, whatever, to only fuck the same woman once. So that probably almost never happened. But maybe she will die, because it was quite normal to die. Maybe a big snake will eat her, because the snakes were really big at that time. They could actually eat a full-grown ape. So maybe you fucked her once, and then the next day she got eaten by a snake. Then it will probably be considered one night stand. And now that's my way of thinking again. Now it's coming into place, because that could happen. So my camera died, and maybe that was for the best, because I have been talking shit for 1.5 hours. However, I actually managed to just finish what I was talking about. And that's amazing, because normally when my camera die, I speak for half to a full hour with no camera on. But luckily that didn't happen, because I was actually finishing up the conversation and was ready to talk about, what can we call it, saying my goodbye sequence anyway. So to sum up this, I talked about the apes and how one night stand was not really normal at the time, but one night stands probably happen sometimes. And when I put that knowledge of the past down on top of my problem with having sex with multiple women, I'm thinking that it must be okay, because it was at that time, and it is what my body are made for. It's made to having sex with women and producing kids to make the humankind evolve and survive in the future. However, it doesn't really work out for me. This single time, it doesn't do that. Normally, it always works out for me to go back to the Stone Age and look at that and think about how we lived there and then apply that to how I live now. But this time it doesn't work. That's probably because there's too many feelings scrambled into this problem. And feelings problem that happens because of feelings cannot really be solved with logic. So no, it doesn't work every time I go back to the Stone Age, but most of the time it actually do work out for me. So that be the conclusion of this video. That was the inside of my head. I hope you enjoyed the ride or got something out of it. Maybe get a little bit clever. More. Oh, I cannot speak. I had taken a break because I could not speak anymore, but I can still not speak. Maybe you got a bit more clever, learn something. And if not about how you should think, then at least learn something about the Stone Age, maybe. Or else you just had a good laugh. No matter what, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, consider subscribing for more of these videos or my other videos. I have tech reviews and like unboxing, gaming videos, travel videos. There's a lot of different things. Maybe you will like just some of it. And if you really like this video, consider liking it. And I guess I see you in the next one. Bye bye.